Changing health trends tonight, and that begins with healthy food and how you find it in your grocery store. 2026 is just days away, and dietitians say there's a tendency for people to prefer healthy food during the new year. And we're talking about trying to eat more protein or plant-based meals. It goes deeper than that. Mandy Gaither explains what food trends to expect in the new year.
Move over, cottage cheese. There are some new it foods in town.
There are things that trend and ebb and flow.
Registered dietitian Julia Sumpano with Cleveland Clinic says the first new food trend she expects to see in 2026, more mushrooms.
Mushrooms such as reishi and lion's mane can help with stress. They're considered adaptogens, and you'll find them in things like coffee and drinks and added into protein shakes.
Zumpano says mushrooms are very healthy and a good source of B vitamins, selenium, fiber, and potassium. She says they can also support a healthy immune system, brain, heart, and gut. Speaking of gut health, Zumpano expects it to continue to be a big trend next year too.
Gut-friendly foods such as resistant starches and probiotics and prebiotics, I think will still be a very strong foundation of health trends in 2026.
GLP-1 weight loss medications are driving the next trend. Zumpano says to expect smaller portion sizes in the new year as those on the medicine have a decreased appetite, and expect protein to still be a big trend, but she expects people to move more toward balanced meals with an emphasis on protein but also adding in fiber. And finally, a focus on omega-3s.
They're support brain health. They help reduce inflammation. They're found in fatty fish and certain nuts and seeds.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, Zampano says there's another New Year trend that's expected to take off when it comes to alcohol. A growing number of people continue to move away from cocktails and instead turn to mocktails or drinks with lower alcohol amounts. She says the non-alcoholic drinks tend to be lower in calories and sugar. And a Gallup poll from this fall showed the number of adults who consume alcohol fell to just 54%. Everybody wants to jump on the healthy bandwagon. All right, we're going to